The Bengals get some unfortunate news about star wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com, and news broke on Thursday afternoon that Ja'Marr Chase is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, with the hip injury that we noticed this past week against the Falcons. He was limping towards the end of the first half, and Malik Wright of the Right Way Sports Network reporting that the Bengals plan on putting Ja'Marr Chase on injured reserve. Malik, the first one to report anything on this Chase news. And look, when you look at Ja'Marr Chase and look at this injury, we're not sure exactly what it is yet. And I don't want to speculate there. But if they do put him on injured reserve, it's 4 games, not weeks. So the bye week doesn't matter. So injured reserve means he doesn't play in November. It means he misses Monday's game, of course, against the Browns, and then the 3 remaining games they have in the month of November, along with the bye. He wouldn't be able to return until after the Tennessee game. And so that just feels like so far away, and it's really tough news to swallow. By the way, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell here for Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Zach Taylor had called him day-to-day earlier today. So I don't know if, and this is probably what it was, Ja'Marr Chase was probably undergoing more tests. He didn't participate in practice. And, that hip is certainly more serious than he thought, than the team initially thought. And he's going to miss some time. And look, this Bengals offense, I'm going to do a separate video on who they could target and all of those things. But I want to react initially to what this does right now. Because right now what it does is it's such a huge loss for this offense. And you're like, oh, well, James, that goes without saying. And you're right. But this Bengals offense operates in 3 wide receiver sets. It's why when you lose T. Higgins for a half or a game, you felt it and you've noticed it on offense. You're like, man, it's so, because they're reliant on 3 receivers. And so when you don't have one of the 3, it makes it tough. And they've never gone without the number 1 guy of the 3. The beast, the guy, and honestly, I think Ja'Marr Chase is the best player on the Bengals. He's the guy that walks off the bus, right? When he gets off the bus, he's the best player on that field. He just is. Most fields. There aren't many guys that are ahead of Ja'Marr Chase, and he's probably the best player on the Bengals. And so losing him, it doesn't mean you can't overcome it, but it's going to be challenging. And they're going to have to change the way they do offense. They just are. They're not going to be able to run as many deep shots because they don't have someone like him that commands that type of attention, that frees up T. Higgins. And so is it going to be more underneath stuff? Is Tyler Boyd going to be featured more? Are they going to get Chris Evans involved potentially? Are they going to sign someone? There's all of these questions. And I certainly think they should sign someone or trade for someone. And like I said, I'll do a separate video, but it's not like there are a ton of options right now. And that's the other part of it. I go back to preseason, right? And even before that, before training camp and free agency. And I mentioned receiver, and there were people who thought I was crazy for mentioning receiver. But now you know why. They're not overly reliant, but they really put a lot on their top 3 receivers. And when you miss one, it really changes the way they operate and the way they do things. And that doesn't mean I don't like Mike Thomas. I have a good relationship with Mike Thomas, and I think he's a good player, and he's going to be able to contribute. I like Trent Taylor. I think he's going to be able to contribute. Maybe it'll be a Kwame Lassiter that they call up. Stanley Morgan, by the way, dealing with a hamstring. That's why I'm not mentioning him right now. He didn't practice on Thursday. You get my point here, is they need to find something. And I think the answer, because you can't replace a Ja'Marr Chase. Right? Some have saying Odell Beckham Jr. Well, that's not going to happen. At least, even if it did happen, put it that way. Let's just say it happens. He's not going to be ready, according to reports, until mid-December anyways. So it's not like that solves the now. They need a solution now, someone to help now. And that might honestly just be a veteran speedster that can spell Mike Thomas, that can make plays when necessary and called upon, and do a little bit to impact the defense downfield. Because Mike Thomas is a solid possession guy. Trent Taylor, same thing. You can get something out of those guys. But you don't have any other speedsters. You don't have anyone else that's going to push downfield. And so that's what I think they need to target. And that's one of the many things they miss with Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, just the impact he has on opposing defenses, how they play, that alone is going to change the way Burrow plays. That alone is going to change the way Higgins plays. That alone is going to change the way defenses focus on Higgins, the way defenses focus on Burrow, the way defenses play this offense. And it's tough. It's tough to deal with, but it's something the Bengals are going to have to deal with. We're going to have more on this. We're going to have on Friday, we will drop a video on potential players they could target, not to replace Chase, because like I said, you ain't replacing a Ja'Marr Chase, but to help with that loss that is obviously a significant one, and it comes, well, it's always a bad time. Never a good time to lose a Ja'Marr Chase. So we'll have more at allbengals.com. Don't forget, the OT with Elise Jesse is Thursday night, so we will have that for you as well. But I had to get my instant reaction out there right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, and I'm going to collect my thoughts, and I'll have more for you on Friday, which will include targets, potential targets for the Bengals to go after, whether it's via trade, whether it is free agency, a hybrid of both is probably going to be exactly what it is. So for Andrew Fox-Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.